Yeah, without having sex. Should be better. Okay, hi everybody.
Hey everybody, how we doing? So in case you didn't notice, we're coming to you from a different location. We're in the Refugio today. We just dropped off Louie. We said it's such a nice day. Let's go try something different. So what are we going to talk about today?
So today we're going to talk about a few things, what's going on now, especially the first one is the US dollar and the peso exchange rate.
Right. Then second, we'll talk about something that AMLO said. Again, that's the president of Mexico. Again, might be kind of controversial depending on what side you're looking at it. And then last, what are we talking about?
Yeah, we're going to talk about to buy or to rent in Mexico.
So a little hodgepodge of everything going on here. So first of all, with the peso, I'm sure many people who are considering moving to Mexico or already live here, it's kind of one of the big news right now is how the peso is gaining in value, right? I think yesterday was, we saw the news yesterday, it was a 7-year high for the peso.
Wow.
Which I think was like 17, almost 17 and a half pesos to the dollar. So again, which is good for the peso, bad if you're coming from the U.S. to Mexico,
Yeah.
right? So again, how can that affect people? What do you think?
Of course, you're going to exchange more US dollar to keep your lifestyle here. If your budget for your family or your own, your couple, maybe 2,000 US dollar a month before when the exchange rate is 1 to 20, that means you can get 40,000 pesos.
Right.
Right? And now it dropped literally 2.5%. So what that tells you, like you're gonna lose some exchange rates. You're gonna do your number work. You lose about maybe $200.
$200,
Right.
somewhere in that range.
Like for us, I think it's about $200 difference. You gotta spend more.
Right. So again, yeah, about a $20 increase in what we have to spend in U.S. dollars.
Yeah.
And again, for some people that's okay. It's not going to affect them that much. The exchange rate hasn't moved to where it's really affecting a lot of people. But you always hear about a lot of people who come here on a very tight budget, right? People who are on pensions, or
Yeah.
retirement, and again, where they're on very limited, where they're maybe only making or getting $1,000, $1,500, and that's all they get. So $200 can make a big difference,
Right.
and it can make life a little bit more tight here.
Right. Or you gotta save before you go out to restaurant a few times more. Now you're like, okay, now I have to cut a little bit.
Right.
Drink a little bit less beer or cocktail outside.
or if you're on the older side, you may have to consider medical expenses.
Medical.
Right. And I guess it kind of goes hand in hand, right? You have to save a little bit just in case there's a medical. You have to go to the doctor. You need some medicine. All that's going to cost a little bit more, right? You have one little emergency or trip to the doctor, and that can really affect your bottom line if you're on a tighter budget.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've kind of seen it across the board. Like, when we go shopping, we see the price on food increase a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Like just a very simple example, we always buy the black pepper in one of the ingredient shop by the Mercado,
Right.
La Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
And before, always 10 pesos for a small bag. And yesterday was
15 pesos, right?
So that's literally like 30%, right?
Yeah, about 30%.
Right, that's
increase.
30%. And also lots of breakfast place. And I read Mexico local news. So especially for the breakfast, the price go up about 20 to 30%.
Right. And again, it's kind of talking in the same vein as far as another example, getting the car washed, right?
Oh, the
before
car,
before we
yeah.
left, it was 50 pesos
Uh-huh.
to wash it. Now again, the increase wasn't as much, but again, when I came back, it was only 60 pesos.
60, but you look at the percentage.
Right.
It's a small amount of money.
Right.
So 10 peso means 20% more.
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
But you look at the bigger things.
Right. Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm
right,
talking
right. I'm just talking about as far as
Yeah.
the pepper and the car washing. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, we talk about
Right.
small. But
As
we
far
talk
as
about the
big,
rates.
right? Like if you're considering maybe buying a house right now. I know when we bought a house, we kind of set an alarm to kind of hit a certain point when we were going to do the exchange rate. And again, now if we would have done that today, then again we're talking about we would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah,
And
so we
that's
were
great.
lucky that time when we exchanged the money. That was 1 to 20 when we bought a car, and then the house
Right.
was 1 to 20.
Right, it was right in that range.
But
right?
now-
20.
If you buy a house, so it's already price go up a little bit yearly, sure, and the exchange rate.
Right.
That means for our house, you're gonna exchange additional like 15 or 20,000 US dollars.
Right, which is a big amount, right?
That's the big thing.
Now, I guess you can also talk on the flip side of that.
Right.
If you happen to be selling
Like
right?
us, we sell our house.
Right. If you're selling your house, then I guess that's actually good for you.
Right.
You can actually make a little bit more money, right, on top of your appreciation. I know we did the work yesterday.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Something like 15 or 20, somewhere there.
20,000, 2,000.
No, 15,000.
Oh yeah, no, it
Talk
wasn't.
about
Yeah,
the big.
yeah, it was about 20,000.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have, as compared to what it would have been if it was 20 to 1, as compared to now, it's about a $20,000 difference that we would have gained if we happened to have sold our house.
Yeah, and you don't have to pay tax on that exchange rate. You
Right.
only pay tax for the appreciation part.
Right.
Which for us would be less than 2 years or 3 years, you pay 35%.
Right. On the appreciation, which again is going to be too much, but again, it's just something to kind of consider. If you happen to be selling your house here in Mexico, and now could be the good time to sell. If you happen to get a buyer to buy your house and get the process closed, it could be a good time
Yeah,
to
it's
sell.
going to be good time, and especially if you are residents, you live in your house for over 3 years. That was the redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through, if you have all your bills and everything.
And
Right.
you never be rented. It's for your own homestead.
Right. So
Then you don't have to pay tax.
yeah,
Capital gain tax.
which is always good.
Yeah.
I just have something in my mind, but it slipped.
Okay. Buy or rent.
Buy or rent. So again, buy or rent.
Yeah.
Again, I think like most people will probably say it's always better to rent first. I know it's kind of a weird transition.
Yeah. So we were talking about the housing.
housing market.
That's why we keep talking about housing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're moving to Mexico, now would be I guess a better time to rent. Obviously, if you want to buy, you may want to hold off to see where the peso goes.
You also need to see how you really like the city.
Right, like the city and like an area of the city,
Yeah.
right? I know for some people, they may want to try different cities over a period of time, try to see how they like the city. And I think once you decide on the city, then of course you can try to decide on the area.
The area.
Right? Because again, different areas are going to offer you different things than what you need. And again, are you by yourself, single, couple, older, younger, right? What do you want? And so you can always try different areas before you decide to buy. And maybe now, again, it might be a good time to wait to buy. Because again, a lot of people there's a lot of predictions out there. Kind of still thinking with the price as far as is it going to continue to drop and get more and more, or is it just kind of a natural wave?
Yeah.
And it's going to raise eventually, maybe next year it'll kind of raise back up and then kind of stabilize, and again, give you more bang for your buck, right? And then maybe after that, now you decide to buy, and again, it'll be better for you. Right?
Yeah.
Now again, what are the things people should consider when moving to a city? What should they consider about what city to choose? What do you think?
Of course, number one is safety. Number two is that fits your lifestyle. Some people prefer a big city like Mexico City, Guadalajara, more things to do. And then some people like more chill. Like, I just want to live in some small town.
Right. And I think like if you choose to live in a bigger city, you're going to probably have a higher cost of living. So
Yeah.
again, you expect that dollar
Especially
not to stretch as much, right? Especially Mexico City,
Yeah.
right? Or places like San Miguel Allende or Ajijic, right? Again, they can be a little more expensive there. Now, if you choose a little smaller town, like a mid-level town, and again, it's going to be more chill. I think somewhere you mentioned was like Aguascalientes, right? Again, your dollar's going to stretch a little bit further. Definitely going to be more chill. It's going to be a slower pace of life. Not going to be so rush, go. So yeah, what are you looking for? Or you're looking for nice climate, like Central Mexico, or you're looking for that beach life, right? You want to kind of sit and have your pina colada, margarita by the beach, just relax, hear the waves. But again, are you okay with humidity? Unless you go to Cabo.
Yeah, but Cabo, lots of beach, you cannot swim.
Nope, you can't swim.
And winter time, the water is too cold.
But you also get nicer weather.
Yeah.
You can kind of get both. At certain times of the year, you get both. Right?
Yeah.
You get the nice weather, and you get some areas that can be swimmable, right? So there's all different kinds of things you need to consider when looking for a place to live.
Yeah, just never be so emotionally. Just, the price is good. I really love it. And then just, okay, compared to dollar, it's still a reasonable price. Then you just impulsively bought it. I'll pay the deposit.
Yeah, which we've done before.
Yeah.
But yeah, buying a house should never just be a totally emotional purchase. I mean, obviously it's a big purchase.
Especially for yourself, people can be getting emotional like we do. And when we buy investment house, it's all about the numbers.
Right.
But for ourselves, okay, you got to lose a little bit.
Right.
It's about what we need, how we like it.
Right.
It's very hard to say, okay, you're the businessman to buy a house.
Yeah, you have to consider your needs.
Yeah.
Your needs and affordability for yourself. Obviously, everyone's going to have a different budget. Right? So what can you afford? And don't get too emotional, or don't pay too much over what you have in your mind, because it kind of, oh, it's so beautiful, so wonderful. Oh, it's only 20,000 more, 30,000 more. I think sometimes people kind of think in high, big numbers. When you know, oh, it's 150,000. Well, what's 20,000 more? It's only 20,000 more, but that can make a big difference. Down the line.
Like, we heard so many stories. People just travel to San Miguel de Allende. Yeah, lots of for sale signs. You see the venta everywhere. Then you just got interested or curious. Like, let's just have a look.
Yeah.
Then one have a look, end up you pay the deposit. You're just like, it's just so nice. We can afford it.
Yeah.
Pay cash, sure. I have some money in my bank account sitting there anyway.
Yeah, like, oh,
so we don't have to pay rent anymore.
My house back home is $400,000, $600,000.
Yeah.
Oh, this is only $200,000. Wow, what a great deal!
Yeah,
you know?
like, oh, so good price. Then they bought it. Like, we went to see a house in San Miguel de Allende, which is outside a little bit.
Yeah. Oh,
and we love it. Like, oh, it maybe can be a Airbnb. The yard is too small for us for sure.
Yeah.
Can be investment.
Yeah, but it had the nice third-story deck.
Yeah.
And even had the setup for a jacuzzi.
Yeah, we took a video about it. If you want to check it out,
yeah, you can
check
that.
I can put it
somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, the price was good, like $120K.
Right. For
brand new.
For a little 3-3, right?
Yeah.
I think it was a 3-3.
And have a rooftop. That was just
beautiful.
And I got a comment like, what? I was working with some realtor there. They told me there's no way you find a house in San Miguel under 250K.
Right.
But what you posted is 125K. Wow. And I posted something that was not in the air center or the old town.
Right.
A little bit outside. You need a car for sure. But it was only 7 minutes driving.
Very quick, very fast.
I mean, that's it. You got a brand new.
Right. And again, I know some people they don't like the cookie cutter, right?
Yeah.
Style, because it was a development company. It was just kind of one of those big sprawling areas. I know there were like 5 or 7 phases they were going to build. But yeah, it was very nice.
Even like in Queretaro, in our neighborhood, even here, there's so many new construction going on.
Right.
You just wonder, like, I would like to see one more, like, what's going on there. It's fun. Check it out. But also talk about some people like, oh, I don't like cookie cutter. Then I want to talk about some people want to build your own. We heard many stories. People bought a lot and they plan to build. But also I heard bad stories about it. Like contractor just running out of money. Everything gets more expensive due to the country inflation.
Right.
So here's the new price you're gonna pay.
Right.
Otherwise, I have to stop right here.
Right. You don't want that to happen, do you?
Then you're stuck in the middle.
Right.
Then you say, okay, I pay more.
Right. And we've heard people spending, again, tens of thousands more. It's not I need $6,000-$7,000 more. No, it's like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more to finish the project.
Yeah, that's the story, and it always lasts a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they give you a time, I would definitely. I'll maybe double it, at least.
I'm not so sure about it.
Maybe not double.
Building a house here.
Yeah, is it really worth it? That customization? I mean, for some people, it is. If you have time, because maybe you're considering moving to Mexico 2-3 years down the line, then maybe that's okay. Because but if you want something right away, or you're already living here and you're kind of waiting, just be prepared to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, of course, you're always looking for better recommendation, which contractor you work with.
Right.
And I also heard bad stories about the pre-sale. That's a Mexico thing, a pre-sale.
Right.
What you see is a 3D. They show you a video. That's on the plan.
Right. What it's going to be.
But once you pay the deposit, sure you get a little bit better price. It's a pre-sale thing. They need the money to keep construction going on.
Right.
But are they going to finish the project?
Right.
There are many buildings just sitting there couldn't finish.
I think that tends to happen on more custom.
Right.
Not so much on the builder's side. But maybe on the more custom side.
Here I don't really hear that.
As much.
Right. That's normally what's area like by the beach town.
Maybe some of those.
Yeah, I saw people post about it. You really got to watch out.
Never got finished. Right.
Yeah, you got to do your own due diligence work. Check out who's the builder.
Right. Yeah, so I think these things we need to consider. There's a lot of different options if you want to buy or rent here. and furnished, unfurnished, all that. But then I think kind of going back to what you said, when you're looking for a place to live, take into consideration what you need, whether it's cleanliness, beach, mountain, weather, or something like safety, right? Which I guess could kind of lead us to, there's a lot of places in Mexico that are safe. I know Mexico kind of has that reputation of being dangerous, but again, this kind of goes to what we were saying at the beginning, as far as what AMLO, the president of Mexico, said about safety in Mexico.
Safety.
Which, I don't remember the quote exactly, so I'm paraphrasing, but pretty much stating that Mexico is safer than America, right? And again, Americans or foreigners who live here, and most Mexicans who live here, know that it's actually safer to travel and go around Mexico than it is in the U.S. So what do you think about that safety?
I think he said that it can be true or can be not true. It really depends on where you live. Yeah, from the Mexico National Survey, like not all states. I don't know. It's generally all the states or just only one state. We get some survey. It says 60% of residents they don't feel safe.
Right. And again, so I think we have to find that out because that can make a big difference if it's national or one state.
Right. I also watched some YouTube video. Of course, they were interviewing Tijuana state. But of course, over there, they interviewed many women. Most women say, I don't feel safe living here.
Right.
But that's the truth because it's at the border.
Right.
There's a lot of crime and cartels is going on.
Right. It tends to be in the north.
But if you interview people living in Mérida or Queretaro, I bet a lot of people will feel, I feel safe living here.
Right.
Especially in a place like Mérida.
Right.
Or here. But in Mexico City, then it's another story. Like most of people say, yeah, like literally everyone got a bad experience by people robbing you from they sit on the motorbike and just rob you. Just get ready for that.
Right.
Or prepare some small money on the side if you need some robbery.
Give the small money and hide the big money somewhere else. And I think things like Mexico City, you just have to consider the area. But of course, it's like any big city, New York, LA, London, Paris, whatever you want to consider, Shanghai, there's always going to be, you just got to kind of be prepared, be aware of your surroundings, and know that petty crime is always going to happen.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, I don't think crime is what it used to be in Mexico City. That's what it used to be. It's safer now, maybe, based on my limited experience there.
Yeah, because it really depends on area.
Right.
Like for certain area, like we saw all the cable running. Right, the people live on the hill. I watched the video about it, man. Interviewed people living there.
Oh yeah, on the outside.
They went there with the local, sure, and took him around. He took some videos. Then he asked the woman working in their grocery shop, like, "Oh, what about I film here at the night? Where the camera be safe?" And she said, "No, that will be gone."
That will be gone, right? I think, and then I think when it comes to like more extreme forms of violence, here in Mexico. I think I mentioned before, it tends to be more concentrated towards, or directed towards direct groups of people, right? You hardly hear about like random people getting. I'm sorry, you do hear about it, getting killed and kidnapped and things like that. But again, it's a smaller percentage as far as on the bigger scale, but it has very specific targets. I think as compared to the U.S., I think this is maybe where I'm going to make the point. In the U.S., it's a lot more random acts of violence.
Random, yeah, that as we discussed before. Lots of people in the U.S. You just look at the gun shooting, the high school, elementary school,
public areas, the mall,
Vegas, the Vegas hotel.
Oh yeah, the concert was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, it was crazy, and just randomly shooting like the young girl drove the car to the wrong driveway. In the countryside, not in the city, somewhere suburb.
Right.
It happens sometimes, and the man just came out and shot her without even having a conversation with her.
Right. And then like what happened outside of Dallas and the Allen premium
outlets. The
premium
outlets.
Right.
Yes.
And so these are complete acts of random violence, which I think do tend to happen here or happen in the U.S. more than Mexico. Again, do they happen in Mexico? I think they do. I just don't think they're on that grand scale. Or maybe the news just does a good job of not covering it as much.
I think a big thing is the drug. The drug really fucks their mind.
Yeah.
That's how it is. So you always see some crazy people like do crazy shit out the streets. Like when I first time moved to Houston we were on the 1960. We just see the Carl's Jr. burger, and I got a little bit scared. There's a man just randomly on the street and just crazily fighting, kicking things, and yelling. And I just saw him like walk to the restaurant. I was like, hey, don't bother me. Right. I think that's a lot of things are just drug involved. That makes them do crazy shit.
Yeah, it could. I think it's a little maybe mix or one or the other. It could be because of drugs, or I think also there's a bigger mental health problem in the U.S. You tend to see a lot more kind of these types of acts. You know, maybe sometimes they're big, sometimes it's drugs and mental health problems. Sometimes it could be either or.
Yeah, like the man in Cleveland.
Oh yeah, right. The one close to us. Again, that was big news a few weeks ago. There was a big manhunt for the guy again, but he was just drunk. You know, and he went and ended up shooting his neighbors because they asked him to kind of be quiet because he was shooting his AR-15 outside at night. And again, he went back and killed, I think it was 5 people.
5 people.
And one of them was a child.
Includes an 8-year-old kid.
Right. So yeah, I mean, you hear about these random acts, and again, a lot more mental health problems, like you said. I think you tend to see it a lot more. Again, you always hear about the big cities: L.A., San Francisco, New York. I mean, Chicago, Houston. Now, of course, it happened in smaller areas, sure. But again, I think you don't see it as much in Mexico, at least publicly. I'm not saying it doesn't exist; it obviously does. I know when we lived, even in Queretaro Central, there was a couple of guys who were you could definitely tell were mentally ill. But again, you just don't see it on the scale. Even in Mexico City, you don't see it on the scale.
No, yeah, maybe we didn't go to the area.
Right, and obviously,
I don't know.
Right. I mean, because Mexico City is such a huge place, we obviously didn't go. Right, we were very specific areas.
Yeah, in U.S., a lot of homeless people, they just mentally sick. You can see on YouTube videos. Seattle, San Francisco, that's just crazy. Homeless people on the street, and then all the needles everywhere, the poops everywhere.
Yeah.
And of course, I know that's a certain area.
Sure.
I'm not talking about big scale.
Right.
Even Austin got more tents right now.
Right. I know that they've kind of done a little bit to fix that. But you know, I think we were talking about the other day, and I forget if you heard about it in a study or reading or just observations they made. But I think a lot of it also has to do with like the culture here in Mexico. You know, families have to take care of families.
Yeah.
Right? So if there is someone who may be mentally ill or sick, again, families are a lot, in general, more tightly knit. They tend to kind of take care of their own, as compared to the U.S. culture, where a lot of times it's, hey, you're 18, get out, right? And people kind of go off on their own, and whether they're sick or not, or they can't afford the care, or they just kind of go away from home. I think that may have to do a little bit with kind of the situation, why you see so much more on the streets. I think here in Mexico, they probably try to take care of them. If they couldn't get the help at the hospital or at an institution, at least they try to take care of them at home.
Yeah.
Kind of and care for the person at home. I think you don't see that as much.
Yeah, it's more family got together, help each other.
Right.
In that situation, help each other a little bit more. I have a home. We have a roof, so it's covered everywhere. You are in trouble, move in.
Yeah, we'll take care of you.
Right.
Definitely. It's a nice part of the culture here. Again, on a grander scale. I mean, obviously, there's exceptions for everything.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, these are different topics. You know, kind of what's going on here. Things we've noticed over the past few weeks, months since we've been back. You know, things that kind of going on in Mexico, how we see things. I don't know. What do y'all think? Any last things you want to add before we go?
Yeah, we're good. We talked about 3 topics today.
So yeah, let us know what you think. You know, things you've been hearing in the news. What do you think about the peso, crime, buying or renting here in Mexico? Let us know what you think. Comment, and we'll see you next Sunday. All right? Have a good one.